All right, welcome everybody. Welcome back after lunch. My name is Jack Becker, and I'm the founder and CEO of Flight Level Solutions. We're a group of fighter pilots, physicians, and human performance experts with one goal in mind: helping you reduce human error, helping everybody in this room perform better at their jobs. I'm going to introduce you to a cycle of constant process improvement, how we as U.S. fighter pilots, the best in the world at what we do, perform better each and every day. I'm an F-18 fighter pilot by trade, instructor pilot, combat decorated pilot, 29 combat missions to my record. But what I want to focus on today is that I was the Navy's chief instructor in a skill set called Crew Resource Management, or CRM. That is very simply our model of flawless execution and how we reduce human error, capture it while they're small and insignificant, and perform better each and every day. I'm not here to teach you how to fly F-18s today, unfortunately. I'm here to teach you how to do your jobs better. This process of continual improvement, and here's the big foot stomper for me. I'm going to teach you today how to repeat your successes and not repeat your failures. That's the goal of my talk, teaching you how to repeat your successes and not repeat your failures. It's a great day to be a fighter pilot. Every day is a great day to be a fighter pilot. And it's a great day to be part of OPITO. I understand that everyone in this room is very good at what they do. The point of this talk is to make you even better. I will draw on some parallels today between my industry and yours, between my office and your workplace. I work in a very dynamic, fast-paced, rapidly changing, and sometimes hostile environment. Can we agree that you guys work in an industry which is dynamic, fast-paced, rapidly changing, and certainly sometimes hostile? So those are the parallels. I don't think anybody in here could argue the fact that my job is very unforgiving. What we're looking at here is the ejection sequence, where the pilot is electing to leave an F-18 Hornet rather abruptly. By pulling a yellow and black handle between the pilot's legs, the canopy gets jettisoned. Now we see a drogue chute coming out, and the pilot's experiencing 27 to 30 Gs, or 30 times the force of gravity. You can see it's forcing his head down between his legs in that ejection seat. What I think is so powerful about this time sequence photography is the milliseconds that this pilot had to use decision-making skills that we practice every day, on every flight, and on every maneuver to make the correct decision to leave the airplane before the airplane struck the ground. That's close. See, the ejection seat's still there at the top of the photo. You don't want to be in that ejection seat. Now, in the United States, OSHA, our Occupational Safety Health Administration, tells me that U.S. workers alone die at the rate of almost 5,000 a year, or 14 people a day leave and go to work and they don't come home. This is not only jobs like the deadliest catch or jobs that are notoriously high risk. These are things down at Joe's factory where some catastrophe happens and that person just doesn't go home to his or her family. OSHA is not doing enough to lower this number from 5,000, or 14 a day, which is astounding to me. The point of my training is to help you perform better at your jobs. OSHA will come in and issue fines and citations if we violate some of their rules or something goes poorly in our workplace. But we in aviation, we're forced to get better, both civilian and military. We demanded of ourselves, and the public demanded of us, that we get better. In the calendar year 2017, the U.S. Navy suffered 4 Class Alpha mishaps. That is either total loss of aircraft and or fatality. We were forced to get better. Anybody care to guess what it was in 1954? Almost flying the same exact amount of flight hours. What was the mishap rate for Class Alpha mishaps in 1954? Anybody? 25? 200 is a good guess. Let me show you what it was. It was 2. Really? Oh, per day. We were crashing airplanes at a rate faster than we could build them. 776 airplanes, Class Alpha mishaps in 1954. So we improved at the rate of almost 99% to get it down to 4 just this past year. We forced ourselves to get better. Next one, please. Like I said, I'm going to teach you to use the skills that the world's best aviators know to repeat our successes and not repeat our failures. Our process for continual improvement, or zero-fail execution, is very simple. It's brief, perform, debrief, and perfect. And this is the constant cycle that we use. This is how we get better each and every day. And I'm going to show you how we use it. This culture that I'm describing to you didn't happen in the Navy or aviation in general overnight. This is a culture that is taught, it's learned, and it's nurtured. We take it very seriously that we try and get better each and every day. Compliance to me doesn't mean anything regulatory. It means 3 things. That 1, in the F-18 fighter pilot community, it's never okay to take shortcuts. That's easy to enforce. We never do it. End of story. If I take shortcuts, people get hurt or people get killed. So I don't do it. But the second thing with compliance is that it's never okay for a fighter pilot to become complacent. Now this one's more challenging because we have human nature that says if I do a task over and over, it's just human nature that I become complacent. So we have specific tools in place in our briefing module to address complacency and challenge people to lower that level of complacency whenever we do a task. And the last one may sound surprising to you for fighter pilots, is that it's never okay to let ego interfere with your job. For the sake of continual process improvement, we set egos aside before we begin the brief as we go through the perform phase, the debrief, and the perfect phase. We leave egos out of it so that we can learn and get better each and every day. And this level of performance that I'm looking for, very simply stated, is good enough is not good enough. I said U.S. fighter pilots are the best in the world at what we do, and that's no lie. But when I execute a maneuver in training or in combat, I'll execute it up to my standards and the standards expected of me. I'll execute it 4 or 5 times out of 100. I certainly do it well enough to get the job done, but we set the bar that high, that 95 chances out of 100 I have to get better when I do a specific task. So we've done something in the naval aviation community and took something that was formerly known as high risk, and we made it highly reliable through the buzzword standardization. We were doing it kind of cowboy rules, and that is the feat of landing supersonic jet aircraft in the middle of the ocean on a ship at night. And we were crashing jets 776 a year, or more than 2 a day. Now we've become very good at it through standardization. We do it the exact same way every time. That's the actual picture of me landing on USS Theodore Roosevelt. And that's what it looks like. I do it the same way every single time, standardized. That's my view from the cockpit. The final 18 seconds of the flight, I'm striving to fly, it's a 55,000-pound airplane, or roughly 25,000 kilograms. 18 seconds, 55,000-pound airplane through a 14-inch window, 35 centimeters. 14 inches too high, and my hook is going to miss the cables that are strung across the deck, and I execute a bolter, or what you probably know as a touch and go. This is supremely embarrassing for a fighter pilot, but it's tactically significant because the captain of the ship needs to keep the ship steaming into the wind so I can go around the racetrack pattern, come back, and try my landing again. So I don't like to be higher than 14 inches or higher than 35 centimeters. My goal is to be right in the middle, the heart of that window, where I can abruptly stop in 209 feet from 170 miles an hour or 270 kilometers per hour to 0, 200 feet. It feels very much like a car accident. 14 inches too high, touch and go. It's horrible for me. 14 inches too low, it results in a ramp strike. My airplane hits the back of the ship, results in a fireball, and my life expectancy drops drastically. So I'm going to show you a video of me landing on Theodore Roosevelt. Standardized. This is 3 fighter planes, my flight lead, another pilot, a wingman in position of -2, and I'm in position of -3 with a microcam Velcro to my helmet. And we're coming in at our squadron assigned altitude of 3,000 feet. Then we spiral down low to 600 feet, and we're going just under the speed of sound, roughly 550 knots. We're going to execute a brake maneuver where we pull 7.5 Gs, or 7.5 times the force of gravity. We do this so I can get to the ship as rapidly as I can, and then I use this brake maneuver to bleed off all my airspeed where I can lower the flaps, lower the landing gear, come in and land. This is the most efficient way that we can do this, but we do it the same way every time. The point of this is to stress the peer check, peer evaluation, and peer monitoring of what's going on. You can see us tighten up this formation. We loosen up whenever we need to be radar significant or not. Here goes the flight lead. 7.5 Gs, so a 200-pound man now feels like he weighs 1,500 pounds. Feels like an elephant sitting on your chest. Here's my turn to go. 7.5 Gs. Makes it hard to breathe. There's my first peek outside as I approach this 18 seconds, and we're using peer check, peer evaluation, and peer monitoring, where there's 12 men and women on that aircraft carrier helping me find that 35-centimeter window. They're using clear voice radio transmissions from my helmet, even flashing lights on the aircraft carrier deck to help me find that perfect glide slope. This landing is good enough. It's efficient, about 3.5 inches low. You can see from the other angle my little deviation of how I got low on this one. Right there. 200 feet from 170 miles an hour to 0. It hurts. The interesting thing about this peer check, peer evaluation, and peer monitoring is that when we go day to night, turn the lights back down briefly, please. I'm going to show one more video. After the sun goes down, we double that peer check and peer evaluation to 24 men and women, helping me find that window. It's still all visual, no instruments, and this is what it looks like. Not much to see there. This landing's actually a little bit better, only about 1 inch low. So zero-fail execution, this process of continual improvement, how we can get better each and every day. I'm here as a safety keynote for OPITO. And I may ruffle some feathers with this statement, but I don't believe in safety. Right now you're wondering, why do